There we are. What's up, folks? Ads here, and I'm here with some, but not all, of the Motley crew here at Neighborhood News Studio. Big guys here. Deep Journo, George Webb is right to my right, and to his right is Detroit Dave Underdown. And we're also joined by Shrimp Sue from the East Coast in Buffalo, New York. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this afternoon. We're going to be talking about everything election related and otherwise. It is election week. Voting on the 3rd, I'll be traveling back to Wisconsin. Some way, somehow, I'm going to get there. I'm going to vote in person, which I do think a lot of conservative voters will come out in person. They're not going to be voting absentee or by mail or anything like that. That's my take on that. But it is election week, as I said, and we have been having a bit of trouble with censorship. If you've been keeping up with us recently, if you haven't, we had one channel already axed by the censors, probably because of this guy to my right here. But we remade a new one. It's called Neighborhood News Studio. I'm actually broadcasting. We are broadcasting on Neighborhood News Studio right now. We only had like about 100 subscribers last night. But people, if you want to go and sub, just type in Neighborhood News Studio on YouTube. Again, we are also broadcasting on brand new YouTube as well. We are live on my channel over there, my Twitter and Periscope, and George, and my Facebook. And George went live a little earlier today on his Twitter. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into what he was talking about and this whole election process, the Bidens, Bobulinski situation, and otherwise. So, George, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Addy. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Bobulinski and this Belt and Road deal with the Hunter Biden Blackberries and the 30 reactors between Iran and China and all that. I don't want to get into that right now since we have Shrimp Zoo on the line. But I also wanted to introduce Dave, and then I am going to get a real-time check on how many. I think we're up to 200 subscribers, or close anyway, on the new channel, Neighborhood News Studio. And I think this is just the thing. You just got to keep, if they keep whacking you for meaningless things like talking about somebody who's a convicted felon working for the DNC, sending terabytes to Pakistan. If you say that, you're cyberbullying, really? So anyway, I'll let you guys. I'm going to grab the iPad, and you take it from there.
Okay.
Aim it at you.
Yes, we're just kind of weighing through all the information. The Hunter Biden Bobulinski phones and documentation is now being referred to as a Biden dossier. So it does make you think back to the Christopher Steele's dossier, the Trump dossier. You know, there's a lot of parallels in these two stories. It seems like between the dossiers and the the laptops with the pornographic or illegal pornographic material included is it's not the first time we've seen it. It seems like it's just hitting the replay button. So
it does, even with the two girls, the two Oconus lures and everything. Only this time, you get the feeling that they had the goods on Hunter, and they were just waiting to play the goods on Hunter. They had the girls in the hot tub and everything. Mm-hmm. And then with Trump, they said, well, why don't we just take the script that we have with Hunter and play it on Trump? And nobody will know it's not true. And if Trump loses the election, no one will know. That's right. It seems like it's all the, Rosneft, Rosatom, all the people that are in the Belt and Road deal.
It seems like a lot of people in the Eurasian crime unit seem to be like circling around these stories, just like they just are everywhere, all over, and just
they never lose their clearances, and
they're always reported as the good guys out for doing justice and hunting down all of our top Russian infiltrators, and just
it seems like they use the Russians as their hackers.
They know them so well.
They know them
how
well.
do they know all these characters?
Like Peter Strzok says, I worked with Anna Chapman for 10 years. So anyway.
Lucky guy.
And we're going to get into Cofer Black here in a little bit, but we had the Hillary emails, the first election, right? Excuse me. And then now we have the Hunter Biden emails and the Hunter Biden BlackBerry messages and WhatsApp. But I want to ask Shrimp how he's doing and let us know what he's been up to over the past day or two. Shrimpsu and I have our own podcast. So we have Pandemic Podcast, The Great Awakening. And we've done several interviews in the past before as well. So I want to welcome Shrimpsu to the Neighborhood News Studio.
Is he frozen?
You there, Shrimp?
It looks like his mic, little mic logo maybe shut down on his.
Yeah, let me see if he's looks like he's frozen, people. So we'll wait for him to get reconnected here. But it's election week, folks, and thanks for everybody for checking in. Dolly, Ezra, BEA 27, and of course Connie. And what do you think? Because there's a very small, and I've talked about this before, Dave. This very small demographic of people who are undecided with the voting and everything that's going on with the election. What is your anticipation? Does it seem to you that Trump is favored at this point? Because we've been hearing that Biden has been favored at this point.
I honestly, I feel like I don't have a good pulse on, what the average voter thinks. It's hard for me because I've been, I look at a lot of these reports and, even getting into, Hillary's bathroom server and, who the characters were in that with like Annie McCabe lived down the street from her in Chappaqua and Peter Strzok's the one going to the Datto server room to get the, to retrieve the emails and stuff. It's just all the same characters. So
they grew. You want to expand on that a little bit? They grew up next to each other or down the street?
They didn't grow up, but when after Bill Clinton's term ended, they wanted to have Hillary become a senator for the state of New York, and so they had to establish residency. So they moved to a place in Westchester called Chappaqua. And
Westchester, very, very rich suburb. Yes,
it could be number one in the United States as far as wealth. It's beautiful, but Chappaqua is one of the nice areas, and Andy McCabe had a house right down the street. So just the history of these characters, with him now going to CNN, it's the same people over and over again, and it's like I feel like I'm been reviewing these characters for years now. So for me, like when I kind of see these same, kind of like salacious laptop, is it legit? Is it not? Like, it was in the mail and all of a sudden it's gone. You've got an empty box with just packing peanuts falling out and nothing. And,
I had an image of it's called a Eurasian Crime Task Force school play form. And it said, insert salacious laptop here, insert reason for...
it's like ad libs or whatever.
Insert reason for evidence being destroyed. Insert your hero is actually a criminal. It just seems like this formulaic.
James Comey come in and review it and give, provide confidence to the world.
Now Shrimp's back, so let's try
higher loyalty. James Comey. We have the book. Shrimp, are you
trusted resource
5x5? What are you at audio wise? Can you hear us?
Yeah, audio is good.
Okay, excellent. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. So you guys basically think the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing is real and all that, basically, right?
No.
You guys, you don't think it's real?
No,
you
it's
think
real.
The laptop is real?
Yeah, but it's a sideshow from the real deal, which is the 30 nuclear power plants that were in the deal with CEFC, and they always do this. They always have the Russian girls with Hunter in the hot tub, and again, it has nothing. I don't care if he has 50 Russian Oconus lures in the hot tub. I care about our uranium that was supposed to come from Russia to us after 40 years of Cold War. And it's going instead to China to power these reactors. So that's what I care about. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, so a Conus lure, for those that don't know, outside the continental United States lure, typical profile of a 18 to 24-year-old female, usually of Eastern European origin.
Okay.
Would you say?
I don't know if it's that specific.
Outside the continental United States, I mean, you could use people from South America too. They
Anywhere,
just most recently
there's male Aconus lures too.
Yeah. Like Eddie would be a male Aconus lure. you would be a male.
Yeah,
Dave would be a male. I would not be a male Aconus lure. But in my day,
I feel like you could be an Aconus
way
lure.
back, way back when. You should have seen it.
Do you think Nelly? You think you put the moves on Nellie Orr? You think she'd go for it?
at the trans bar, I'm sure I would have done well.
Look out
Do
there.
you think Bruce would come send the Eurasian task force after you? Have put all the resources into
I
action?
think Bruce would be sending me the Mossad black card and saying, "Stay out as late as you need to." I got some other Okota slurs I need to interrogate over here at my house. So yeah. Anyway, let's let Trim have a chance here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Shrimp Zoo. Let us know what you've been up to.
So I don't think anything really happens from now till November 3rd will really affect the elections. I think I've already voted. Like there's like all-time record early voting, it seems like. So I think most people already decided on the elections. I don't think this will change too many people's minds. And I still think that Biden probably wins. Not 100% sure though.
What do you think, George? Do you think it seems to me that I'll go first. It seems to me I've seen more signs for Trump definitely so far this year. I've been to Oregon, Wisconsin, Illinois, Maryland, New York, Ohio, Michigan. Definitely seeing a lot more Trump signs. I would say also though that of people my age, I am an anomaly insofar as I'm voting for Donald Trump. So that should be taken into consideration. I think if like the young like the Zoomers, the brainwashed Zoomers come out in mass, then maybe Biden can win. But I would say that Trump has the advantage right now. So agree to disagree on that one, Shrimp. So what do you think, George?
Well, I don't see why they would come out with the Bobulinski, which is like Dave said, a Biden dossier. I don't see why you would dossier Biden if he wasn't going to win. You would dossier Biden because he's going to win and you want control of him when he becomes president, or you want to throw him out before he even has a chance to become president. And that's what I think they're going to do on a 25th Amendment type thing, saying he's not mentally capable. And so that really scared me when Bobulinski came out and they showed the Hunter Biden BlackBerry and everything. I said, man, they wouldn't give that up unless they were planting, a trap door under Biden. That's my feeling. I'm not going on the polling or any of that because it's always wrong.
It's just hard to read it.
But I'm going by the CIA's actions, and to me that means that they're putting a trap door under Biden. But what?
Well, I was just going to say with your question about the election predictions, John O'Loughlin said that he read a report that the 5 states that are the key swing states now, Wisconsin is the number one. So I was just curious what Addie's thoughts were as someone that grew up in Wisconsin, spent a lot of time there, went to university there, and what you think about Wisconsin being the number one swing state.
Yeah,
according to that report.
It's kind of interesting because most people are talking about there's 2 states that we've been covering over the last couple of weeks, which is Ohio and Michigan. But Wisconsin is pretty much always in the mix as far as being a swing state or a battleground state, as they say. And I'm also not surprised that it's somewhat slept on in that sense. What I mean by that is basically somewhat not as noticed as the other states. But, I've been getting texts from the Trump campaign about, like, I think Ivanka was in Johnson Creek the other day, right by Watertown. And I think Eric was in Mosinee. I don't know which Trump it was. Somebody was in Mosinee the other day, which if you're going to Mosinee, Wisconsin, like it's just it's weird. Like they're really going out in the weeds here because Mosinee is one of those towns you just drive right past. And there's a joke about how bad it smells there. But regardless, the Trump was there. Wisconsin is a swing state. It's very much the Midwest. And then I'm guessing Florida was another one in that top 5. But
New Hampshire, I think.
New Hampshire as
Pennsylvania.
well. Pennsylvania. But what do you see in Wisconsin, which is, typical of the United States, is big cities are blue, like Madison and Milwaukee. And Milwaukee is a very racially polarized city. In 2015, there was a video clip of the Milwaukee police chief at the time going off against reporters who were basically ignoring black on black crime in the city of Milwaukee. So it's definitely a big issue, but especially in Madison. George likes to joke that there's a red square in Madison because there's this Capitol Square at the end of State Street. State Street saw a lot of rioting and windows broken in over the past this year at various points, especially over the past few months. But really, outside of those two places, it's completely red. Even in a city like Eau Claire or Oshkosh, these types of mid-sized cities, they also tend to swing red, even though there is a university populace there that often votes blue. I think that Eau Claire County will go red. I think that Oshkosh will go red. I want to say, I would like for Wisconsin to go red, obviously, but it's going to depend on areas outside of Madison and Milwaukee going blue if they're going to have to swing the whole state. So
there's Bo. That's Bo. He's short for Bo High Harvest, and so every time you hear Bo bark, you have to think about Hunter Biden and his blackberries and the Bo High Harvest. With the Bo High Harvest was really all of our nuclear secrets, it sounds like. So there's your mental cue and trigger for every time you hear Bo bark. The key here with Kenosha, I think Kenosha wouldn't have had the little school play with the weapons if they didn't think Kenosha was the key place to get white women voters. They want white women voters to think young white men are all white supremacists. And the only way you can do that is have a school play where he shoots 3 people with an automatic weapon. And if you think about it, it's hard to imagine how somebody can run up and down the streets for the better part of an hour and not see a policeman, then shoot 3 people, and then run into the headlights of a huge military convoy where they know someone's just fired an automatic weapon. And yet none of the people, police pull him over. So there's no response whatsoever. The 3 shots, like they're performing some kind of play. And then this kid walks, amongst all these armored vehicles.
This may be a useless question, George. Do you think this guy is MK Ultra brainwashed, or do you think he's complicit? Or Robert Greene would say that it doesn't actually matter why he did it. It just matters that he did do it. But I think it's an interesting question.
He just has to think he did it. I mean, if I put blanks in the gun and he's on the medical squad and I put him in a situation where I run him around like an idiot, he just has to think he shot those 3 people. And you just have to think he shot those 3 people. That's all I need to look. This is the stuff of CIA school plays. This is how they do it in Libya, Syria, Sudan. This is how they get a whole electorate swung. This is the guts of military propaganda, right? And I just look at the situation and I think, if I was a police officer, would I want some white guy in the middle of a bunch of people with an AR-15 running up and down the street? That doesn't seem reasonable. And then the immediate response after he shoots the 3 people doesn't seem reasonable either. There's a whole convoy. It looks like they're all about ready to, attack Iraq with 3,000 convoy vehicles. There's just nothing about it that seemed real. And I don't think it worked. I don't think the Rittenhouse thing worked. I don't think white suburban women are all running around saying all white men are supremacist racists. That didn't happen, I don't think. If it did, then I think Biden wins Wisconsin.
Yeah, and this is something I've noticed too. It's somewhat of a litmus test that I think is the mask thing, and it's quite subjective. But when we were in Maryland, we went grocery shopping. I went with this other citizen journalist that follows George, and we got kicked out of the store because we didn't have a mask on. Whereas in Eau Claire, where I was, in Wisconsin before this, like George was talking about the mom vote, the white mom vote, which is often the most important demographic. They, you can just sense it's like, I have to put on the mask type of thing. Where in Maryland, it was completely, it was like a consensus, like we all have to be doing this type of thing for one reason or another. Whereas, when I was in Oregon, it was, somewhere in the middle. But that's just one, kind of litmus test that I've noticed for gauging the political climate as I've traveled over this year.
I want to comment on that too, because I was watching a video that Scott Adams did. He was sort of commenting on this, and he talked about the way that the mask question is raised. Is it's always it's always framed as, if you wear the mask, you're going to protect that, 1,000 to 2,000 lives per day that could be infected if people, weren't doing the distancing and weren't wearing the mask. But they never incorporate the, the economic costs that having masks, having social distancing, having lockdowns of businesses and other services not being used. So whenever you talk about the mask and distancing and sort of these public health concerns, it's I think it is a little irresponsible not to talk about what the economic cost is, because people losing their businesses, that that has a rippling effect upon their family, their community. It can destroy families for generations. These are all those are all part of, there's always a cost and everything. That's why it's a cost benefit analysis. So when you're talking about a population and the idea that reckless behavior can get not only yourself sick, but the people around you, maybe innocent bystanders, sick, it's a very serious charge. And so when they talk about these mask issues, they immediately go to the idea that you don't care about other people's health. And it may be that you're more coming from the frame of mind that, hey, I've lost my own business, I don't have an income anymore, I have all these expenses that I've signed contracts to pay, that I'm the type of person that when I sign my name to paper, my word is good. And if you're not able to do that, that's psychologically destroying to people. Yeah. So you need to consider
a lot of pressures on small business.
There's a lot of aspects that there is an economic cost or benefit that you have to weigh into it. It's not just, hey, this guy's an idiot and won't wear a mask, or you're gonna wear a mask to show that whatever, that you're more conscious of the health. I mean, you're not even, besides the point of even having an honest examination about is a mask always helpful? Is it not helpful? Can people get more sick from wearing it if you wear it too much, if you don't wear the right mask? These are all real issues that people are thinking about, but it's just so simplified into, if you wear a mask, you're responsible and you care about people. If you don't wear a mask, you are independent and don't care about people around you. And it's just a very simplified argument that you don't get anywhere. So you need to think about kind of more of the big picture.
Yeah, a good point. So Shrimp Zoo, let's get Shrimp Zoo's take on all this. Obviously, he's still wearing a mask and he's by himself, so he must be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, nobody understands why I always wear the mask alone. I just wear it as like a joke, I guess. I think the only place masks should be regulated is maybe on airplanes, maybe inside government buildings or something. It seems like most businesses, it's kind of up to them whether you want to wear a mask or not. Where I live, some places they wear a mask and other places they don't.
Yeah,
doesn't really.
I think people
doesn't bother me.
Fine.
I wear a mask.
Yeah.
Because I have asthma and stuff, so I wear a mask. But I don't think you should just wear a mask to protect yourself. That's how I look at it. If people don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. That's up to them. It seems like overall, though, the general consensus among the population, the whole world, and the U.S., I think it's 50 to 70% of people wear masks. Most Republicans wear masks, so most private businesses are probably going to require masks, and that's fine if some businesses don't want to require masks. But the way it is, that's going to be very harsh, though, because most of the population wears masks, so might be harsh for those businesses.
In my eyes, the issue isn't whether or not masks do anything; it's the enforcement of them.
Most this mask doesn't do anything; it won't really protect you. Only a really good quality mask will protect you. So most people wear masks like this, it won't really even protect you. So there's not a point, and people actually do wear towels or handkerchiefs, stuff that don't really protect against viruses well.
Yeah.
I don't know. And And then they say it can go in your eyes. They keep backtracking if it's airborne or not. So that means it could go in your eyes if it's like vapors and airborne. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
And
you
just
may as
tying
well.
the mask thing back into Wisconsin, I was just using it as a litmus test, but yeah, and like when I noticed it, and when I go to grocery stores in Eau Claire, it seemed a lot less like if you didn't wear it, like nobody would stop you or really care, you know. But
Yeah.
as far as the Rittenhouse thing, you know, as it was a nice dovetail that George did from what I said because, you know, what I said was you're gonna need something more than Milwaukee and Madison to go blue
I'm
if
not.
you want to
I'm
win.
not gonna go. Like the people that flip on people for not wearing masks. That's way too much. You know.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like
agree with
I'm
that.
gonna go where I live. There's like at the grocery store, most people wear masks, but some people don't, and I just don't care. Like I'm not like some stupid like grocery store police where I need like tattle on them or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, Maryland, it was like that. Yeah, that was kind of the climate.
We
but-
had the Bo bark, and that's going to make you think about Bobulinski. It's going to make you think about those Hunter Biden blackberries. Sorry, but that's our sponsor and Bohai Harvest. And what was the Bohai Harvest? I don't mean to change the subject off
You're a
masks,
master salesman, George.
but I just wanted every time you hear that, think about Bobulinski and those Hunter Biden blackberries and why were they carrying them around? They weren't carrying them around to talk about masks. They were carrying them around because they all had Q clearances from the Department of Energy. So what does that tell you? They have Q clearances from the Department of Energy, and they're dealing with a nuclear scientist. Bobulinski's a nuclear scientist, and they're dealing with the China nuclear group. I think that means small reactors in anybody's business. And so the transition here for me is not the election so much, but why are these guys who did this nuclear deal and fracking deal with the Chinese, why are the CIA guys, why are they building this trapdoor under Joe Biden right now if they don't plan for him to win? I think this is the same thing they did with Trump with the dossier after Trump won. And they also introduced the dossier on Trump just before the election.
Yeah.
This is the same
And
situation.
the impeachment too, because
But I'm talking about during the transition.
Mhm.
It was they introduced it by John McCain a couple of weeks before the election. Make sure they had a placeholder that they could go after Trump with, into
Right.
the next into the interim period here.
Right, but I'm just saying that with the impeachment, the idea that the Hunter's business relationships being unethical, and that Trump wanted to explore that, get the Burisma lawsuit going again. Just playing into the idea that this dossier on Hunter has sort of been something that's been around for a long time, and rather than just kind of getting to the bottom of criminal behavior, they kind of are staging it and saving it, releasing it now.
But let's say they waited 2 weeks. Let's say they waited 2 weeks to release the Bobulinski BlackBerry, and Biden had already won. Okay, then they wouldn't get any of the excitement and froth from the right about push. We all have to social media push this. Bo's still barking. That means the Bobulinski blackberries are still bothering Bo. The Bohai Harvest, I think, is bothering
That's
Bo.
what really bothers him is Bohai Harvest.
The Bohai Harvest of all our nuclear secrets.
He also doesn't like Rosemont Seneca. That's not taught. That's off limits. He really likes. He likes the Finger Lakes and
but seriously,
all that stuff.
They announce it 2 weeks before so they can get the right. It's red meat for the right, so that they can all push this stuff out. So that we're going to be able to get committees. If Biden is elected, we're going to get committees looking into Biden before he even takes the oath of office.
Yeah.
The same thing happened against Trump. They launched the Flynn investigation on Trump before he ever took the oath of office. The day Trump took office, Flynn was texting a guy, Alex Copson of the nuclear group that was managing all of our nuclear waste or doing all of our proposals for nuclear waste. It's these nuclear, I don't want to say nuclear Nazis, but it's this nuclear group in the Department of Energy that time and time again is laying these landmines under these guys. I don't know. It's just what it seems like to me.
It does. Well, I mean, the department, we remember the Department of Energy was was created out of the Atomic Energy Commission. So you're going to have a lot of interest in, uranium enrichment facilities, transportation.
You mentioned this. The richest
security.
guy in the world was in this deal, in that tape. that Biden
the
take.
richest guy in the world,
and that's named Bezos. A guy that's the richest guy in the world.
Well, right, with Bezos and with his his grandfather being I think
The head of the Atomic Energy Commission.
I mean he oversaw 30,000 workers within the AOC
AEC.
the AEC. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did we forget Oneida Holdings? Oneida?
Oneida Holdings though is just the holding company. Oneida Holdings is the holding company for all the Blackberries. I don't know if all the different companies seem to be named after one of the 5 different Finger Lakes in New York.
Unless it's Teneo, where you
the whole hand and you grab.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at it, Teneo is kind of like there's the Owasco is one of the Finger Lakes, and that was Jim Biden's holding company or front company, and then there's Seneca, and that was Devin Archer's front company.
And the Finger Lakes are 5 lakes in New York.
5 lakes in New York that kind of like to make the fingers of a hand, and Teneo means
black hand.
Yeah. And Teneo means to grasp. Teneo means to grasp or to take, like something that isn't yours.
Tener is to have in Spanish. Tener.
In Spanish, but in Latin it means to grasp, to seize.
To seize.
It's more than just to hold. It means to snatch.
To seize control of the
Correct.
republic and turn it into a fascist dictatorship.
Yeah. So,
but it's really just a snatch and grab
Led by
kind
the
of
Chinese
bank
kind.
but look at all the people. Oneida is one of them. There's a tribe up in northern. All these tribes.
Yeah. Then
wasn't Ogallala Seneca a Sioux Indian nation? The one with Devin.
Yeah, where the
Hunter.
bonds.
Let's get the Finger Lakes up. Yeah.
Let's pull the Finger Lakes.
Let's pull the Finger Lakes up.
My name's Young Addy, and I've been pulling stuff up since as long as I can remember. So we're gonna pull up the Finger Lakes right now in New York.
And anytime you're talking Finger Lakes, you gotta get into your Buffalo, Lake Erie, and the Erie Canal. It's all gonna have deep ties into this area.
If you do
Let's
images,
get a satellite view.
Okay.
Shall we, folks?
See the 5 hands. You see the.
Let me zoom in here.
And interestingly enough, Finger Lakes is where they bought the house for Bernie Sanders for his kids when they told him he wasn't going to be the presidential nominee. Either that or the kids' heads, his grandkids' heads were going to be in the Finger Lakes. So
pull this up, folks. Here's the Finger Lakes. This is the Black Hand.
If you pull up the just images and do the.
I will do that, so they can see this one. I'll show you what they can see.
Yeah, hit those images.
Let's do that.
There, do the cartoon map.
Yeah, do the
cartoon
or the one lower, so you can see the full state of New
York.
York. I think a lot of people don't know if you do the one right below, there you go. Yeah,
right here.
There you can see the.
Okay, give us a sec.
Kind of like bigger picture. Oh.
I've been pulling this up for a long time.
He's making fun of the Joe Rogan guy who says he's pulled up a lot of stuff.
Okay, so what are we looking at here, Dave?
So we're looking at this is sort of the state of New York with the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. The Montreal is at the top. So with the history of the St. Lawrence Seaway, they built the Erie Canal, which goes from where New York City is. The Hudson River is to the left of New York City, and with
important choke point.
Yep.
Yeah, historic. Yeah, very, very much a historical choke point right there. Right,
Lake Oneida.
Yeah,
this is close to where Shrimp Zoo lives in Buffalo.
Yeah, Shrimp Zoo's close.
He should know
it's
all
also
about
it's also where Cornell is, where my dad's side of the family is from up there, old Cornell grad. So
Shrimp Zoo and I actually visited Lake Erie. So I'm pulling up Oneida here, folks. As you look at the Finger Lakes of New York. But here is the Oneida. Let me zoom in. Okay. That's
I want to go Oneida to Seneca, Lake Seneca.
Okay.
But you notice how it's all these Indian reservations of different tribes they defrauded over time. They just, it seems like Jack Abramoff, just switches between each of these different Indian reservations to run these bonds through, these fake bonds through for each one of these topples. I mean, I'm telling you, it's going to end up being like Libya was the Seneca Indians used to print the bonds for that. And then they used the Oneida for for Ukraine, and then they used.
Well, I also thought too, just like from the reading when I was first learning about, you know, like the old like French and Indian wars, it was always the Iroquois that was sort of the terrorists. And I felt like the spelling of it was a lot like Iraqis, you know, and I always just thought, you know, if you're coming up with names of sort of the rogue groups, I don't know if that was, you know, one of these writers that sort of
Devin Archer
framed that.
Devin Archer was the Seneca. He defrauded the Seneca Ogallala Sioux, right? This Oneida group was Bobulinski, and that was James Biden, right, and Hunter Biden. Then you also had, what was the other one? Had Oneida. Oh, Owasco. Can you look up the Owasco tribe?
Let me go back. So you were.
I would just like do the Google map from the Lake Owasco to Lake Oneida.
Yeah.
Let's just see how far those two lakes are apart, because Owasco. Owasco, Awasco. The Owasco.
Okay.
This is also the area
to Lake Oneida, and that's going to be how far James Biden had to go from to visit our good friend. Maybe directions. Yeah, map.
Okay, let me pull this up here, folks. Here, yeah, let's do directions, shall we?
Yeah. Because they had to have some reason for using the Oneida group, and usually you name it. It's kind of like Chinatown. You name it after things that are like around you. It's like, oh, I got a great idea. It's Finger Lakes is for grabbing countries like Libya and Syria.
Right.
Let's just you be that, you know, like Mr. Pink and Mr. Blue and Mr. White in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
But you be this lake, I'll be that lake. We'll never refer to each other directly. We'll have a code.
Just have lake names.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
or tribe or Indian tribe names. There are also Indian tribe names. Like Rosemont Seneca is an Indian tribe, and that could be just Hunter's Front Company. I mean,
right. Well, Rosemont was the name of the estate that the Heinz family had.
That could be Heinz's.
Yeah, but the Seneca, of course, was the Seneca Indians. Also in this area, this is the childhood home of characters like John D. Rockefeller. Grew up in the kind of Buffalo, New York area. Also, the Dulles brothers with the Lansings. Before them is also from this area.
Right there in the middle of the Finger Lakes. You see it? See Lake Owasco is right there in the middle of the Finger Lakes.
So there's the thumb is Oneida, right?
Oneida is the thumb, and then the third finger or the first index finger there is the Owasco.
And then famous Seneca Falls, which we remember, and then also
where is Seneca Falls in this picture?
It's at the top of
Seneca Lake right here.
No,
right by Geneva.
To the right. Seneca Falls, and then Ithaca, where Cornell is just to the south, and then Trumansburg, which you see right there. That's where my dad's family's from.
Yeah, so these are all named after lakes of great
presidents.
Lake New York,
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's Truman. Truman.
No, way before Truman.
And Dave is right. This was where all the railroad barons, like the Harrimans and stuff, they used to all go up here. Back the wise men. The State Department wise man of the 50s all used to go up here to somebody's estate. I don't know if it was Roosevelt's estate or
Roosevelt was going down to what was it, Hot Springs, Georgia,
because
that was his summer.
Hudson West is also one of the companies. I went in our series. I went to Hudson West where Carter Page met Nellie Orr.
Right,
it's right there by the Little Art Institute.
But if you remember, the Erie Canal starts. The mouth of it is the Hudson River and the Hudson Bay, and then it connects into south of Buffalo is where the Erie Canal was. So you're going to have that merging of sort of the superpower groups that were controlling the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence, combining with sort of those New Netherland, New Yorker.
Who put
people.
Who put in the Erie Canal? Who paid for it?
Bechtel.
Clinton.
Oh, George Clinton, and
no,
not George Clinton, the P-Funk.
The guy who did the Westies, like everything west of 9th Avenue, all that area.
I thought his name was George Clinton. I thought he was like one of the first governors of New York.
I thought it was DeWitt Clinton.
Oh, DeWitt Clinton. There was a George Clinton that did something.
DeWitt Clinton, I thought, did the Erie Canal, and this could be like an homage to Clinton's.
And you also have to remember
maybe in Chappaqua, the Erie Canal might have.
Keekit, which is the Rockefeller estate, which is right in Westchester, right by where Hillary moved with Andy McCabe.
You're right, George. DeWitt Clinton presided over the construction of the Erie Canal.
Yeah.
So I'm
these
guessing
could be
that was
this could be the dark hand of Hillary Clinton.
And you also have to remember too on the Erie Canal that the Albany, which is the state capital of New York, which historically where the governor is, when you've got great power within the governors of New York State, that's right along the Erie Canal route. So you're going to have again the sort of the New York City Westchester power combining with the Albany, like the state governors.
And this was probably all contrived when Hillary Clinton was trying to win the Senate when she moved to Chappaqua in 2002.
I think so.
Or 2000.
They said historically Buffalo, like right after the Erie Canal was built, was the largest grain processing area in the entire world, and they'd bring all the crops from Ohio and Indiana, and they'd process it all in Buffalo.
Pretty close to where Shrimp Zoo is, and we actually went downtown Buffalo and visited Lake Erie, and then you'll see the Peace Bridge too here, where Pascal Ferrier was arrested, the attempted ricin assassin of Trump. So very close here. There's Buffalo, and then there's the Five Finger Lakes. And can we just tie this back, gentlemen, to what we were talking about, the geography with regards to the topic we were on earlier? Because we're tying this into the current
this kind of association game is kind of fun. If you're trying to crack a code, it's kind of like the Da Vinci Code. It's like, how do all these names of all these front companies that Hunter Biden has with all those conspirators, how do they link together? And it turns out they all link together with these Finger Lakes.
Da Vinci Code.
Well, if it's if we're talking Belt and Road and historic trade routes, this is our North American trade routes.
Yeah, and we're trying to take the names of the conspirators, the code words that the conspirators are using. These aren't our code words. I didn't get up this morning and think of Oneida and Seneca and Ogallala and all these things. I'm using the words of the conspirators, right? And it looks like it has something to do with this area. And usually this is kind of where they vacation. Like you said, Rosemont is Heinz's code word, and Seneca is the code word for Devin Archer.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just have to figure out what the code word is for Bulger.
So here's Westchester. Westchester County.
Maybe that's Hudson West.
Bohai.
He doesn't like that Bohai harvest of all of our nuclear secrets. He's not happy.
He doesn't like the defrauding of the Indians.
No, he doesn't like the Indian bonds being used.
So there you are, folks. Is live. As Addy Ads, George Webb, Shrimp Zoo out of Buffalo, New York. We're here in the Midwest, Ohio, Michigan line.
Can we ask Shrimp Zoo if he's ever been to the Finger Lakes? I bet he has.
Yeah, I have.
Which one do you like the most? I mean, which is your favorite conspirator? Seneca or have you been to all of them? Owasco and Seneca and what's the other one?
Owasco, Seneca, Oneida.
Oneida, yeah. Which is your favorite?
Cayuga.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one. I like Canandaigua.
Yeah,
Is that one
that's
that one of the Finger Lakes?
There's key.
Does that count? That's like the closest one to me, kind of, where there's actually stuff there.
Well,
so I like that one the best, I guess. The Finger Lakes are
one
nice.
thing I did notice about when I was living in New York, there was this Cornell. Cornell had the medical school, and the veterinary school was kind of the bioweapons guys. They were the part of the CIA because they had a veterinary school, and none of the other Ivy League had a veterinary school. Oh, wow. So that's, you develop the bioweapon in animals first, and then you move it to humans, right? And so we're testing. For testing. So we're all under this coronavirus. And Fauci actually, I think, went to medical school at Cornell. So I'm just wondering, are these? I mean, do all these guys somehow know each other from Cornell vet school? Because I know they're not from. I know they're not.
Cornell and Holy Cross.
Yeah, he went to veterinary school at Cornell, right?
So so the scientists testing like vaccines and viruses, do you think they have vets in there and stuff, like the Pentagon or CIA or these top secret like military places that are testing viruses, you think they have vets in there? I know they're testing them on animals, but
well, animal testing is done for all viruses and vaccines by FDA mandate. If you don't have an Haiti handy, you have to use animals. I mean, or if you don't have Africa handy, you have to use animals for your testing.
Well, Michigan State had too. Michigan State, the agricultural school here, had a veterinary school, one of the best, and they had Michigan vaccine. They called it Michigan Vaccine Labs or whatever. I think they might have closed it down like maybe a few years ago.
Does Michigan have?
Michigan doesn't that I know. No, they're not the agricultural school. So,
right.
Michigan's the only one that has like University of Michigan, and then Michigan State was the agricultural school, and they had like, I don't know, 5 other state colleges or 6.
Because
like
Purdue always had
was agricultural school too.
It was always getting the grants for bioweapons, and I'm just trying to think. Wisconsin, I'm pretty darn sure has a veterinary college. Iowa does too. I've been to the one in Iowa, in Ames,
and you've got, of course, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, of course, Aggies.
Yeah.
It seems like all these Big Ten, especially these Big Ten, have had all the bioweapons programs.
Mm-hmm. Could well be.
Just interesting that they all would be clustered around. Just interesting that they would always be clustered around Cornell.
Right.
Yeah, as far as the Ivy League was
There's
concerned.
New York. Put the money where the money is,
Yeah, I mean, does this really mean that Libya, Syria, Sudan, Yemen, all these were just the bioweapons takedowns? I don't know. I don't know. Addy took off shrimp, so I don't know what Addy's take is. He was going to tell us if Wisconsin. I think there's only one Big Ten school in Wisconsin. Last time I checked.
Yeah,
and that was Wisconsin. Do they have a vet school at Wisconsin?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. So if you're a Nazi trying to bring in your old formula, right, you'd have to go to a veterinary school, probably of like the Big Ten, right? I mean, you'd have to go to either Iowa. I know Iowa State has one. Oklahoma State has a veterinary school.
Spartans are big for that too.
Yeah, Michigan State. Tom mentioned that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the link of why these guys were all out there. Unless it was just the Seneca Indian tribe. Can we look up the Ogallala Sioux Indians? Because that's where Devin Archer printed all the bonds. Maybe Jack Abramoff just used the Indian tribe that was among all these lakes, and they kept going on these Seneca Indian lakes.
I want to pull up Jack.
Until they ran out of lakes.
Aaron just called in. He said something about you guys were talking about the other day, Sage Hospitality or something.
Sage Hospitality was in
whatever.
Sage Hospitality was in Portland. The guy who did Sonderland was part of Sage Hospitality. He was one of the guys who did the coup. Yeah.
Jack Abramoff, American lobbyist, businessman, movie producer, writer, and convicted felon.
See, he did the movie with Paul Erickson, who was with Butina. And the guy who did the money laundering was Patrick Byrne. So for all these actions for Libya, Syria, Sudan, Yemen, going all the way back for 30 years.
That's the law firm.
Greenberg Trout.
Yeah, that's the law firm that sent Nyansky was sent in to give Roger Stone the Hillary email. So
yeah, Greenberg Trout, and I was down there, and there, God, what's the name of that town?
Lakeland, Florida.
It's near there. It's west. Oh God, I'm going to forget it.
Greenberg, for people that don't know, is also famous for Hank Ace Greenberg of AIG fame. I don't know if that was related.
The Greenberg in here is of.
It's Mel Greenberg. There's Mel. But everybody from Detroit remembers Hammer and Hank Greenberg from the Tigers. So
yeah.
So here's Abramoff again.
Yeah, Abramoff is been a convicted felon for compromising people in Congress. So we're not speculating here, folks. This person's a convicted felon. We know he used the Indian tribes to launder money to do covert actions.
He's also a lobbyist for.
But if you do Abramoff and Seneca Indian tribe, just a compound search, I bet you'll you're
referring to this though.
If you do Abramoff and Seneca, or just show me where the Seneca Indian nation, the Ogallala Seneca Indians were. Yeah, cryptocurrency.
They're the Great Hill people. They're a group of indigenous Iroquoian-speaking people native to North America who historically lived south of Lake Ontario. Their nation was the farthest to the west within the Six Nations, or the Iroquois League, in New York before the American Revolution.
Yeah, but specifically, I think they roamed among these lakes, so we'll see if they roamed among these 6 lakes. It would make so much sense because it means Abramoff is the money man behind all this stuff. And at Devon Archer, all you have to do is print the bonds, right? You just have to load the printer with some ink and some paper, and then you're good to go.
So here is the tribe Sandia Pueblo.
That's out in New Mexico.
Oh my gosh!
Sandia Resort.
You're gonna love this one.
Near Albuquerque.
So
yeah,
but do Rose? Can you do the Seneca Ogallala tribe? Where is that? Is it in Florida or is it in New York? I bet you it's in New York.
Well, this is the one that you'll like. This is the So the Senecas were originally on this Canada Igua Lake, which is it's the 4th largest of the Finger Lakes, but it's famous for having the first steamboat on the Finger Lakes region, which was called the Enterprise, which is from 1825. So I wonder if that Enterprise is related to the Iran-Contra Mina Airport Enterprise operations.
Oh, right. Bill Barr said, don't mess with the Enterprise. Yeah.
Don't shrink the Enterprise's laundry. Nobody shrinks the laundry.
Don't shrink the laundry.
Yeah. So is this the
Enterprise? Bill Barr is
Enterprise?
such a criminal. People expect something out of him. It's just so.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. We got answers coming, folks, on Ogallala.
Ogallala are Lakota tribe.
That's Sioux.
Lakota Sioux.
That could be South Dakota, and because he was also his right-hand man, Abramoff's right-hand man is Paul Erickson. And he was out in South Dakota with Butina. So again, they declare these huge reservations. Rockefeller used to declare these huge reservations so they could sideways drill later, so they could frack later sideways. So you wonder if the sideways drilling profits were the things that then they financed these
Plowback.
topples. Yeah, plowback. Yeah.
Also, we remember from the pipe bombs being mailed to the different figures from Cesar Sayak. He was
Seneca. Yeah.
I think he was part of the Seminole Hard Rock group.
Seminole. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was another character, an interesting character that offered boat rides out in the Everglades where you may not,
late at night,
where maybe not the same number.
No one would hear you scream.
Yeah. Some few less passengers for the return trip. So.
Entropy chat is live. It's in the live chat. People want to do a super chat over on Entropy. That would be much appreciated. Also, if you want to test out the super chat feature on brand new tube as well, you can do that, I think. But either way, the Entropy is alive and well. Give me a sec here, people. I got to fix something technically, as I'll pass it back to George.
Okay, Shrimp Zoo. Tell me now, you've had extensive travels in the Finger Lakes region. You've said your favorite lake. Have you ever been to any Indian tribes out there?
Not really. Just like the reservations and stuff for like people I know that buy cigarettes.
What reservation are they going to?
I mean, me and Addie went to an Indian reservation so he could get a vape pen, and we bought some fireworks there.
Well, I think we're seeing the result of that right now. Where did he get the vape pen? Let's own up. Come on, Addie. Where'd you get it?
So in the state of New York, flavored vapes like this one.
Can we see?
Yeah, this is just it's like a lemon twist pod twist.
Did you get this at an Indian reservation?
No, this I got actually just next door because here it's legal in Michigan, but in New York, you can only get these on Indian reservations for whatever reason. Sounds
like illegal trafficking to me.
I mean, as I see it, it's a move by Big Tobacco as they try to just maintain their grip over the tobacco industry. when you look at these vaping companies coming out like Juul, they're using the argument that children are becoming more and more addicted to them, which, although that may be true to a certain extent, in Wisconsin, the age just got pushed up to 21 years old for anything tobacco related. But I think it's a move really to try to prevent people from switching from cigarettes to vaping, which is pretty messed up in a way. But that's kind of the
You
way I
can't
see it.
you can't have any fruit flavors here, so but the reservations still sell them for whatever reason.
Well,
But
since
the
the 50s, CIA has been using this Indian reservations as sanctuaries. Moving across the country with the various motorcycle gangs, and I thought, this does relate to Bow High Harvest in a way, because if you the way they had carve outs before in China for Hong Kong and Singapore on the Malay Peninsula,
Right.
As free trade zones, if what Bobulinski was doing with these reactors was allowing for different trade zones where the ports were and that were being powered by the nuclear power plants, you would have control. You'd have choke points all along the way on their Belt and Road, both on land and by sea. And that to me makes sense. If you're the CIA guy, you don't want to maintain the whole highway. You just, like the British did, you just want to maintain the ports. So that to me makes a lot of sense. It's sort of like the same strategy with Indian reservations on land. Have a fort every so often that you power, and you're completely off the grid. You have your own nuclear power plant to power your own little control point, your own little choke point. I don't know why that seems the same to me.
Do you know who else loved to use that strategy? Was I believe the Knights Templar was that was their strategy, to have different temples along the path heading out to the Crusades, or it was basically, like you said,
King's Highway, same thing.
King's Highway. So the idea of
San Francisco, yeah.
You have to have operational security, or if you're
is
running,
Sinohawk basically the helicopter gunships and so forth and surveillance, the
energy security
between the way stations. I think we figured this out.
Yeah, well, Bill Taylor,
I feel really good about myself.
I feel like Bill Taylor, all he wanted to talk about was energy security.
Energy security,
the most important thing we can talk about.
We have a check now on the Chinese because we have these way stations, just like the old Hong Kong model. In Shanghai, there used to be a French protectorate where all the diplomats stayed, and everybody had diplomatic immunity, and you could travel in between the two. Just like in Iran, you could go to Kish Island without a passport. And it just seems like the CIA way.
Switzerland, I feel like, is another country that likes
that whole country. It's
a
way station for CIA. Yeah.
Or Luxembourg, where Tony Bob met Hunter.
Yeah, who's Tony meeting in Luxembourg? Are they over there at the NATO warehouse there, the airlift capability? Hey, bring up, since both your parents work for NATO, why don't you bring up NATO at Luxembourg at the distribution? There we go. Watch Eddie go now.
Yeah.
Have your parents ever?
I think my dad's actually been to Luxembourg, but that was on vacation. It wasn't for
airlifting weapons.
How close is it?
But what was Hunter there for with Bobulinski? Can you do NATO airlift?
Isn't the NATO language school right there in Germany too?
The language school, the spy school, is the one that
Nelly likes to.
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe B. Ran down in Oberammergau. That was the Marshall School. Mm-hmm. That's where Robin Gritz taught at the Marshall School.
And do you think
Whoa, I think I just ran out of battery. Oh no, that was.
Was that where?
There you go. Look at this. This is Luxembourg. This is where I think Hunter was with the strategic airlift capability, the SAC.
It says right here, provides capability to these countries: Bulgaria, Finland, Hungary, the Netherlands, Lithuania, Norway, my motherland, Poland, Romania, Slovenia, Sweden, and the USA.
But see that C-17's airlift? That's not like your C-130, the old C-130s, which were, props. This baby's jet driven. This is a jet airlift capability. And I think the C-17s were used for fast attack in Libya and Syria. Oh, wow. It's also stealthier than a C-130. C-130, you can see it coming like 100 picnic tables coming across the sky, right?
What about
this? The C-17 has some stealth, I thought.
If you're doing big lifts, though, wouldn't you want to call Pasternak to get those Zeppelins that Adam Schiff was invested into? What was that? What was that called?
Those are for surveillance. Yeah.
No, I thought he had the ones that were big as 3 football fields, where you could basically take an entire army battalion.
Yeah, but that's big and slow with a big footprint. Look at this thing. Look for the stealth here.
Sometimes you need to go big, and sometimes you need to go fast. So you'd want stealthy. You'd want to have both.
Oh yeah, okay. You had the Eclipse planes. Okay, I'll give you that. All right.
The Lockheed C-130. So this is like your AC-130, right?
But what they did was they put jets on this thing. See how this used to be a 130, but then they moved it with the jets to add capability. See how proposed aircraft then designed a new aircraft having swept wings and increased in size. If you scroll up a little bit, more powerful engines would allow it to perform the work done by a C-141 to fulfill the duties of the C-5 Galaxy. C-5 Galaxies are monstrous, and they're huge, and they're loud. They fly into Dover, Delaware. I mean, they're just huge. And wow. So I'm thinking maybe here I think Hunter was down there at the C-17s, Dave. I don't think he was messing with the C-130s.
You think he's just on yachts and yachts outside Monaco, and then
look
flying,
how far Monaco is. Look how far Monaco is from Luxembourg. It's not far. It's like 2 hours. You could fly there in 2 hours. Look it up. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think we should be selling F-35 2 Joint Strike Fighter jets to the United Arab Emirates for $10 billion? Because there in Dubai, if you even just kiss your girlfriend or whatever, you could be sentenced to jail for like a decade.
Well, obviously,
I'm staying out of UAE. Then I didn't realize it was that
lures like I thought they used. No wonder everybody's going to Iran for their dates.
I mean, if you're going to go to jail for 10 years and just for a kiss, you want to get a little bit more action out of your.
I actually hung out with an Iranian girl once. Iranian.
Hung out? Does that mean like hung out?
Well, we walked in Berlin with my cousin. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I've never hung out with an.
It's not a very juicy Oconus lure story, actually.
I just thought it would contribute to the conversation, George.
Tell me about the NATO. You've been to Luxembourg, right?
No, I've never.
Where were you born in Norway?
I wasn't born in Norway.
Why did you say that was your home country?
That's my mom is of Norwegian descent.
Oh, okay.
I want to know about the Oconus lures on the
misnomer there.
Sorry about that. Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, if we're talking yachts and Oconus lures, I want to go talk Deripaska's Queen K. I feel like that was the party boat.
Okay, well, let's do this. I mean, just how on the map, how far is it from Luxembourg? And I think Luxembourg City is the capital of Luxembourg. Last time I checked, I could be wrong. Oh, it's huge banking, huge tax evasion. Oh yeah, and the Rothschilds loved Luxembourg. They'd trade all their bonds in Luxembourg. See how far it is to Monaco, because Monaco also has a safe haven. It's also a place where you would launder diamonds from Africa. Yeah, typically, like anything that you stole from Africa, you would want to go to Monaco to launder it. Gold bars, typically. So it's interesting that ways. What is it? How many? It's hour and 30-minute flight.
It's very close to Marseille, which is the traditional French connection port city.
Drugs. Yeah. So what's Hunter doing? Where is he? Where's our timeline, Bobulinski? I want to see a timeline about.
I want to know where that yacht went in Monaco. Was it just hanging out for the Grand Prix, or did it go to?
I bet you we could figure out when it was there, because he said something about.
I think he went to Malta or Corsica.
There's got to be something in the laptop emails that said when he was thinking of going there, because they went to Romania instead. I think. I'm not sure.
And Romania was where historically the Roman soldiers ended up, and then it's sort of always been known as sort of a area where they've done the weapons. And
they settled there after the Germanic Wars, I thought, and that's why their language is different. But Romania is typically where Soros would do his meetings, because they had a lot of people, gun manufacturers. After the Soviet Union fell, they would make a lot of the knockoff Kalashnikovs and that sort of in Bulgaria and Romania. So the interesting thing is, to me, just looking at the metadata, and Bobulinski, you're welcome to come in and knock all these things down. But it seems like you go to the place, this strategic air capability, the SAC, you get the planes, then you fly to Romania and get the knockoff weapons.
Mhm.
Then you fly to a border country to arm your mujahideen, and then you take over your country. If you're a Rothschild, that's how you do things, right?
I feel like Carter Page would be a good person to ask if that's the real strategy for how we do these things, because it seems like he was had similar business interests with the Rosneft and with the Gazprom. So
yeah, there you go.
yeah,
I'm just saying, where's the timeline, Bobulinski? I mean, people are going to ask you. I think what they're going to do is they're going to call Hunter. If Biden wins, they're going to call Hunter for up to Capitol Hill.
Can we talk about this guy here, Kofor Black?
Sure.
I mentioned him earlier. I just wanted to put a name to a face for people. Really attractive looking dude here. He is or was a CIA official counterterrorism coordinator for the neocons.
He's been the handler of Osama bin Laden since Osama bin Laden was 21. He handled him for 20 years when he was our ally, and handled him for 20 years until his death, supposedly as our enemy. That was, and he grew up in Sudan. Kofor Black actually grew up in Sudan, speaking Arabic, I believe. So he's got an interesting African background.
Yeah, he's in Africa for clandestine service.
Yep.
Due to his childhood experiences there.
Yep. And if you find out where the initial funding was, I mean, Osama bin Laden came over to Sudan when they were first deciding to make him a bad guy.
do you think he knows Peter Strzok Sr. or his brother?
Oh my God. Yes. Of
Yeah.
course.
What about Tedros? Do you think he's ever met Tedros before? Or?
I think Tedros is just a low level. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess up the channel. You can't say anything against who. Can't say anything against who. I mean, you can look the other way. You can look the other way at 3 different breakouts in your country and miss the fact that it's not watery diarrhea, that it's actually cholera. You could miss that 3 times, killed thousands and thousands of your countrymen, but you can't say that he did that. You can't say that he did that.
He was a communist in Ethiopia.
With a very small tribe of 5% of the population, and he used the bioweapon, the cholera bioweapon, as well as maybe some other ones. But you can't say that to eliminate other tribes. So his minority tribe would become the ruler there in Ethiopia, but you can't say that. So
We just did though.
no, we said you can't say that. We
Oh,
didn't
you
say
can't say that.
Yeah, we said you can't say
Can't
that.
say that, guys.
Yeah, you can't say that. Okay.
And masks, who knows? We don't know.
So I think we hit a lot of topics here
Yeah.
today. What do you
Kofor
think?
Black oversaw the collection of human intelligence on the terrorist cells and the support structures. So anytime you're getting into these communications devices, surveillance devices, the
False flags.
false flags,
Giving weapons
But
to moderate Arabs.
human intel would be sort of that
Blowing up embassies.
counter intel pro
Moderate
type
rebels.
strategies where you're using informants and infiltrates into different organizations. So,
These guys actually believe if you blow up a embassy and kill a whole bunch of people, that'll cause the people in the country to rise up and support the anti-communist effort, right? And that's kind of, sometimes you need to crack some eggs in order to make an omelet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We are 1080p here, folks. Let us know how the stream is. This is 1080p. How's the audio? We 5x5. By the way, I have an interview 4 p.m. Eastern time with Piazza Sif, author originally from the United States, now lives in Costa Rica. So let that be known if people want to check that out. And I'll go on the Neighborhood News Studio as well at the behest of Mr. Adler. So yeah, you're right, George. We covered quite a bit on this stream, but
I think maybe we covered enough to say.
I just want to add one thing though. Judy had a comment. She was asking why would Tony Bob rat on the Bidens at this point of the story, and I think we need to go back to George's encryption train, the choo-choo train strategy of having a bag man or a patsy at the end of the last man standing, while the others can sort of get away with the crime. So
if you had a bag of blackberries, and remember, this isn't speculation. I discover a bag of blackberries with government markings, State Department markings, Teneo markings, right? And you did all these operations. You knocked over Libya, then Syria, then Sudan, and then you did Ukraine. And then all of a sudden now, oh, we're going to do some Senate negotiations, and we'll give this now with the evidence. Now we'll throw it over to the Lee Harvey Oswald, which is Hunter Biden. Now we're absolved. It's Hunter Biden that was doing all this, and now we're going to say, Hunter Biden, you're the guilty guy. We're not guilty. You're the one.
But I'm going to say, wasn't the State Department involved in the whole time? So don't you have to look at the fact that was a consistent element to the between Hillary and John Kerry?
See, we're doing Hunter Biden's defense right here. We're constructing Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's defense.
I mean, we're not saying,
kind of weird.
We're not saying that Hunter didn't do criminal behavior. We're just saying that he's not the only one. There's a whole.
We're just saying he didn't do Libya, he didn't do Syria, he didn't do.
Right. We don't have. I mean, we're
evidence.
We're trying to figure out who did those things. But we currently don't have evidence that Hunter was involved with those. We have him involved with financial deals with Rosemont Seneca, with Bohai Harvest. Sino Hawk that Tony Bobulinski was in partnership with Hunter with. So we're trying to look at it from that angle. But, it does look like that, as George is, laid out for us, is that, Hunter is being used in the role of the Lee Harvey Oswald, where he's kind of the lone.
I have a prediction.
Okay, give the prediction.
I have a prediction. If you look at the range of a Jet Ranger 206A, that's the Peter Strzok's favorite attack helicopter. I will bet that these little nuclear ponds or waypoints are at the distance, the comfortable range of a Jet Ranger 206A. They're closer than that, because you've got to recharge these things. I mean, obviously they're run on aviation fuel, but you have to have bases. This is what Deep Uranium was telling me. There was this string of bases. They even call it the string of pearls. Look at what's our range. I bet you it's over 400 miles. I bet you it's over 500 miles. If you scroll down in the info box, you'll get it. What's the range? Oh, what's the range?
Here, I'm gonna do this.
There we go. There's Addy Ads getting you the answers.
I'm trying. This is so it wasn't selected for light observation helicopter program. But it was redesigned, and then
I just typed what's the range?
374 nautical miles, which is 430 miles.
I knew it was between 400 and 500. I didn't. Well, okay. So I'll bet that the way stations on the Belt and Road are between 400 miles. Okay, multiply 400 miles times 30. How many miles is that? 12,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're closer than that. They're 200 miles apart. They're the nuclear stations. Yep, they're within the range. If you're Peter Strzok, this is your dream come true. Belt and Road is your dream come true.
Well, if you've already got your team of flying ass monkeys, then you want to use them as much as possible.
Yeah, and you dominate all Central Asia, and you have choke points all along the way.
And we'll go another broadcast tonight. Yeah.
Folks. And Belt and Road is that's proposed as being like a free trade zone where would the nations be getting some of the tolls and
in the autonomous areas.
But I'm talking about the sort of the imminent domain of the actual road. Like, is that going to be something?
Well, the Chinese will steal everything on either side of the, 100 miles either side of the railway,
right?
Or 200. They'll build spurs. They'll build spurs off everything.
So that was the guy that Hunter was the lawyer for, the personal lawyer, body man Yi. He's the one you think that
Yi isn't dead. Yi isn't dead. And he's the guy who put the whole deal together. And he's just missing, like Joseph Massoud is missing.
Right.
Right.
Do you think that
they don't want to have anybody to question?
Okay. And that's why Hunter got the diamond.
Hunter got the diamond from Ho, but
no, was it?
Didn't Hunter get the diamond from Ho? Patrick Ho and Hunter and diamond. Can you Google that?
Yeah.
Patrick Ho I gave him the diamond. That's why they're trying to. Here's another guy who was a Lee Harvey Oswald, Patrick Ho. They wouldn't have put that tape out that says he's the Chinese spy chief if he wasn't a nobody. Nobody was going to put out there. Here's the spy chief of our whole operation. I'm going to say it in clear text. I'll make sure I get recorded. No, not going to happen.
$1 million diamond.
Yeah, it was Yi. It was Chinese energy tycoon Yi.
Oh, it was
Yi. Ming, the head of the CEFC. He dished out a 2.8 carat diamond.
How much is that worth? $40
million.
No, it's worth more than that, isn't it?
Well, you
what
got
does it say there?
This is million.
A million.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to remember with diamonds, you know, you got to have your what is it, the 4Ks or whatever,
Oh,
carat,
yeah.
clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to. So yeah, not all the diamonds are the same, but I don't know. Does Hunter? Does he like get an earring going or what? I feel like I've never seen him wear dripping in
I don't want
diamonds.
to know where he has
Probably
the
a
earring.
belly ring.
Or do you think the
I don't
girl?
wanna know.
Do you think the girl in Arkansas maybe?
Don't want to
Okay.
know. Yeah, the stripper. No, I don't want to know. All right, folks. Thank you very much. We've had a freewheeling, open, free-ranging discussion, have we not?
Yeah, it's been a great discussion. Covered, the Finger Lakes area. Did some Google mapping. A little Bell 206 helicopters.
We got the Lockheed C-17 in there.
Yeah, we got the C-130, C-17, C-5 will be next time maybe.
And
But
people may think, oh, this is speculation about where Hunter went with Bobulinski. Okay, it's speculation where Hunter went with Bobulinski. They can come forward at any time and clear up all misgivings here. We're just saying, hey, wouldn't it be great to know actually what they did at these places? Why are they at these places? Right? They're going to have to come up with some stupid excuse. And now Bannon's going to have to say, oh, there was the Belton Road Glee Club. We were going to all the Belton Road Glee Club meetings. Yeah, sure. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. The great Addy Ads, G-Dub in the house, Dark Journo, Deep Journo, and of course the incomparable Dave Down Under. We'll see you all tonight at what, 8 o'clock? No, 9 o'clock.
yeah, that works.
9 o'clock.
Let's do it. 9 o'clock Eastern.
9 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.
Stay frosty.
Oh, what?
Stay frosty.
You still on?
Okay, especially.